On a sun-drenched Lancastrian evening comes a new dawn. Roberts trying his luck. It's a magnificent opener. Connor Roberts with a stunning strike. What a time to score his first goal for Burnley. It's Collins with the header. Oh, it's in. And Burnley do double their advantage on what could be a pivotal night in the relegation battle. The foundation being laid now for a survival bid. Their position still precarious, but this is priceless.
Hey there and welcome along to Premier League Today. Now, last night was the last of our football midweek fest. And what a result it was for relegation-threatened Burnley as they saw off Southampton 2-0 at Turf Moor.
Certainly was. Plenty for us to get stuck into today. Here's confirmation, though, of all the midweek results, including that big one down the bottom. Roberts and Collins with the goals for Burnley.
And this is what it means for the Premier League table. They're now just a point between Everton and managerless Burnley, who remain in the bottom three alongside with Watford and Norwich. But Frank Lampard's side do have a game in hand. Southampton stay in 13th after that defeat.
At the top, all the action happened on Tuesday and Wednesday as Manchester City and Liverpool yo-yoed between first and second. What a title race we have on our hands. A huge win as well for Arsenal at Stamford Bridge saw them go level on points with Spurs in that race for the Champions League spot. And it all ramps up again tomorrow. Match week 34 gets underway in just over 24 hours' time with a peach of a fixture. Arsenal hosting Manchester United, who yesterday announced that Ajax's Erik ten Hag would become their new manager from the end of this campaign. Can they give their fans something to cheer about after that awful showing at Anfield?
And the leaders City are in action against Watford, and it's getting close to last chance saloon for Roy Hodgson's men. The same could also be said for Norwich, though, as they host Newcastle, and on Sunday we have 4 matches. The pick of the bunch being, of course, that Merseyside derby at Anfield, which will, of course, be building up to later.
And with so much to play for, we are asking you guys today who you think is going to win the title, how this final month is going to play out. So we want your title winners, your top 4, and who is going down, who is going to get relegated come May. Get your shouts in, use the hashtag PLFans, and we'll read out some of those a little bit later. Get typing.
Yeah, plenty to get into. So, of course, the only place to start is at Turf Moor as Burnley picked up a massive 3 points against Southampton in their battle to avoid the drop. And our good friend Simon Crabtree is over there now in the sun. It's gleaming. Talk to us about that game, Simon. What an impressive performance. And you've got to say, when it comes to the relegation battle, things are getting really exciting now.
Yes, they are, and I think other teams maybe are starting to get dragged into it as well, but some atmosphere here at Turf Moor. The one constant, if there has been one for Burnley over the last year or so, or certainly this season, is that when this place is full, it is absolutely rocking and they back them to the hilt. Just a reminder about last night. I mean, it started off, Southampton had 2 really good chances early on. Oriol Romeo had 2 good headers that he should have converted. But when Connor Roberts gets his first ever goal for Burnley, he'd only just come in to the team last night. Matt Lowton had been switched. Manager Michael Jackson just said he wanted to freshen it up again. And then Nathan Collins doubles it. Fraser Forster, in between those 2 goals, had made a load of really top draw saves. Burnley could have had a third one as well that VAR ruled out for an offside decision when Jay Rodriguez and Jack Cork had gone through, but it was all about Burnley. Ralph Hasenhüttl was livid. It was absolutely livid. I was just sitting behind them. He said that at half time, apart from Fraser Forster for making those saves, he said he could have substituted every other player on the pitch. Look, can you imagine 10 substitutions at half time? He would have done it if he could have done it. But Burnley, I think it's fair to say, in control, the management staff, euphoric. I kept my eye on Mick Jackson, and he kept turning round and sort of taking deep breaths and saying, "We've been here before. I know this situation. I know it worked. We've got to all stay super calm." And he did. He kept everybody controlled, kept them all the way to 90 minutes. And I know it's only their 5th win of the season, but it felt absolutely almost as big as the wind here inside Turf Moor, which is just starting to blow a hoolie.
Right. Look, life after Sean Dyche doesn't look too bad, does it, after all?
They're not getting carried away, like I say there. I mean, yes, it does feel an awful lot better. It feels like, well, in fact, talking to some of the players, talking to some of the staff, it almost feels like a weight has been lifted off their shoulders, which I know is potentially an odd thing to say, given everything that Sean Dyche has done for them. And it was nothing potentially about Sean Dyche, it was just maybe a different way of thinking. I spoke to Dwight McNeil after the game, and as he came up, he looked a completely different person. Mike Jackson had said at the end of the game, you know, he saw him playing like he was a kid again. You know, it was like a bit of freedom. Go and express yourself. Go and do what you do. He told other players to get him involved, and it was the Dwight McNeil of old. They really enjoyed it. There were smiles on everybody's faces. They're going round. And that was it, really. It felt like there was a freedom to express themselves, to be Burnley again, to do what they know they can do. But like I say, not getting carried away. And Mike Jackson, who is the interim manager, caretaker boss, whatever you want to call it, he wasn't taking the credit for all of that. Understood that sort of freedom, but said it was more about what the players could do rather than what he had done.
I hear all this all the time when a manager leaves somewhere and people say, well, you've done this and you've done that. I don't think it's that. I think the players have just remembered, and the group's remembered who they are, what they're good at and what they're capable of. I think it's as simple as that. We're here just to guide them. The staff have all mucked in. Everyone's played the part. So for me, I don't buy into this magic wand thing. There's nothing to do with that. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. This is a group of guys who've come together, who are fighting, and that's what I can see.
Simon, so Mike was being very humble there, but is there any update on a replacement for Sean Dyche? Because it's 2 games now that we've seen the former under-23s coach in charge.
I don't think there will be. I genuinely don't. I know that they have been approached by various managers who are out of a job. I know they are starting to sound out managers, but I think they'll have looked at what Mike Jackson did. I keep wanting to call him Jacko because I've known him for so long, but I can't do that anymore because he's a football manager now, so I've got to call him Mike Jackson, haven't I? It feels like he will be given every chance now. I am genuinely not expecting, and that's not to say that they won't. I know that they've been linked with Chris Wilder, not 100% sure about that, but he is sort of in the mix. I know they've been strongly linked with Wayne Rooney, and depending on what happens with Derby County and their potential takeover, I think depends on what Wayne's decision might be next as well. But look, why wouldn't you want to come here? And I think the biggest decision will be for whoever the next manager may be is, are Burnley still going to be in the Premier League? For now, there's a freedom, there's an expression, there is goal scoring opportunities that we maybe haven't seen for Burnley for a while, and if results go their way this weekend, of course, it could feel very different again.
Simon, what about the run-in just finally for Burnley? Burnley could be out the bottom 3 come Sunday, and actually Everton arguably got the tougher games.
Yeah, exactly that. So if Burnley avoid defeat and Everton are beaten against Liverpool in the Merseyside derby at the weekend, Burnley, I think they've spent 24 hours, since the middle of September, Burnley have only spent a 24-hour period outside of that relegation zone, and that was somewhere in October. So it could be huge, but there's so many twists and turns, and it's not just Burnley-Everton anymore for me. Leeds United, remember, have won, 3 of their last 4? And when you look at their proximity, all of a sudden you think, wow, they need to keep that run going to keep out of it. Aston Villa, I know this sounds wacky, but are not out of the woods, and I'll tell you why as well. Because Burnley have got to play them twice. So if Burnley were to beat them home and away, and the feeling at the moment is that it's not completely out of the question, all of a sudden that 8-point gap becomes a 2-point gap between them, and anything can happen in between. So wouldn't rule anything out of the equation between now and the end of the season, but as I say, we do know that if Burnley can avoid defeat against Wolverhampton Wanderers here on Sunday, or even win, and Everton don't, then all of a sudden the pressure moves again. But look, there'll be loads happening between now and the end of the season, and it could go, and I think it will go, all the way to the wire. And who wouldn't want to be here when Burnley take on Newcastle in that last match of the season, while Everton go to Arsenal, maybe Villa, maybe someone else involved. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Grabbers, you're a wonderful man, despite what many people say about you. I'm getting suspicious that the sun is out 2 days on the trot in Burnley. They say it never shines there, but there we go, twice in 2 days. Speak to you soon, Simon.
Bye-bye.
He's going to say something, wasn't he?
Yeah,
That was,
you
I
put him up
It's
there.
probably going to be something about me. So
Yeah,
we'll
you're a
just
bit mean there. Simon's a very nice guy. Anyway, so right to another big game in the relegation battle, but you've got to say it's also a massive one in the title race.
Liverpool and Everton. Two teams in a city where football means everything.
A contest which dictates the mood of this grand, big-hearted port city.
We can see our rivals across the park. It's a journey we've made before.
Everton march here to quench the thirst of a generation.
We know they are after everything,
A red blur at the start of the second half.
but we have our hearts, passion and belief.
Richarlison paint the town blue.
It's the day the city comes together.
A 21st century Anfield win for the Toffees.
So let's give it everything we've got.
Just watch this series of passes and turn. Players at their absolute zenith.
This is Gordon. It is a monumentally important goal.
Here we are again, the Merseyside derby.
So Liverpool host Everton in Sunday's later kickoff. Looking forward to this one, Anita. A huge game, so much riding on it for both sides. Ian Irving has stood by for us at the Titanic Hotel in Liverpool. He's got his fishing jacket on, his rod just to the left of him there. Before we go fishing, Ian, you've got some news on Mo Salah. He's had something to say about his contract.
Yeah, I don't suppose it's anything new really in a sense from Mohamed Salah, but he said that money is not the stumbling block in why he's not signed his new deal at Liverpool yet. Of course, his contract is up at the end of next season, so there is sort of beginning to be some concerns around what the future will hold for Salah. He said again that he's reiterated his stance that he wants to remain at Liverpool, but of course no contract signing. Until that is done, Liverpool fans and Liverpool Football Club have got something that they need to sort out. Let's get a sense of the flavour ahead of the Merseyside derby this weekend, which aside from Salah's contract news is a huge match for both teams for very different reasons, of course. I'm joined here by the Docks in Liverpool, by Neil from the Anfield Wrap in the red corner, in the blue corner Matt from Toffee TV. Neil, I'll start with you. What do you make of these latest comments from Salah?
I think the thing is, it's not new news, and the way magazines run, he's given them at least 6 weeks ago. If we take at face value the idea of, well, it's not about money, it's about something else, then it begs the question as to what the something else is.
What do you think it is?
Well, the only one thing I can think it could possibly be that would make any sense whatsoever, because it can't be about Liverpool's ambition. Liverpool's ambition this season right now, as we stand here in mid-April, is to win 4 trophies. The only thing I think it might be is he might want to know who, if anyone, is replacing Klopp in 2024. I think that's going to be a question that I think that's any player who's looking to sign for Liverpool this summer, it's a valid one. You know, who will the manager be after this fella? And I think that there's still every chance that Klopp himself signs an extension, but it might be that Salah wants to know either the answer to that question or get reassurances around what that'll be. Because I just can't for the life of me think what else it is if we take the idea it isn't money at face value.
Matt, forgive me, I'm just going to stick with Neil for the minute. On Jurgen Klopp then, do you think there is a concern for the players now that his contract is up in 2024? Because we are talking about a team who are literally single figures in matches away from a quadruple. Should there be any worries about the future?
Well, there shouldn't be any worries about the future amongst that camp right now, because they should exist in the moment. I exist in the moment. The idea of Liverpool supporters shouldn't even be thinking that far ahead, because this is what's in front of us right now is the greatest opportunity that could possibly be to win all 4 trophies. No one else has took it as long as Liverpool are going to take it, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
So let's bear that in mind. But I think that in the summer, as I'll say again, if I'm signing for Liverpool, if I'm a 21-year-old player and my agent isn't asking the question of Liverpool's hierarchy, well, who's going to be managing my player in 3 seasons' time, then I'd say that agent isn't doing his job properly, to be honest with you. So I think the eyes will turn to that a little bit in the summer. I'll be really honest, I expect Klopp to sign an extension, but I'm not basing it on any info, let me be crystal clear. But I think that Klopp will, I think Klopp's enjoying this so much at the moment. I think the idea of another couple of years, really embrace this moment, because I don't understand what his next job is, that he'd really get into and enjoy. He's too young to be an international manager.
Okay, let's get into the game then, Matt. I'm sorry that I've got to do this, but the derby is this weekend, that's what it is. Is this the biggest derby ever when you consider Everton's position at the bottom and Liverpool's position at the top?
I suppose it is, and it isn't in a way, because you look at Everton's situation on the table and they need points, especially after Burnley going and getting that really important win against Southampton last night. They obviously played before Everton as well on Sunday, so there's every chance that Everton could be going into this game in Anfield in the bottom 3 of the Premier League, which is a terrifying prospect.
Ouch.
But in the other side of it, it doesn't really feel I'm not going into this game expecting anything. You know, I've seen Everton enough this season to know that when it comes to playing away from home, a lot of these lads can't pass a football in a straight line, unfortunately. They need 40,000 Evertonians to be able to tell them and get behind them and support them, because the confidence is that brittle. And we have to be brutally honest as well. They're coming up against probably the best team on the planet at the moment, who are playing at their absolute peak as well. So it's a funny one, because it feels like Everton obviously do need points. They're desperate for points, and they could get a draw. It would be extraordinary and miraculous and much welcome. But I don't think any Evertonian realistically going to Anfield on Sunday is expecting much from this game. It's probably more what happens at Turf Moor beforehand, and then what's going to happen at Goodison Park in a week's time.
Yeah, Neil, listening to Matt there, it sounds like a Manchester United fan from a week ago building up to the game at Anfield against Liverpool. Do you think it's going to be a similar sort of story? Do you think Liverpool will dominate this game from the start, or is there more concerns about this match than United?
I have in general more concerns about this match than United, because the reason is Everton have got no airs and graces. There's not this idea that they've been or are a top six side. I think every Evertonian comes into it, and by that I also mean the coaching staff, I mean the players, knowing it's a rearguard action, knowing that, you know, if Everton are going to get anything out of this game, Pickford's going to have to play well, Yerry Mina's going to have to play well, but they're both capable of playing well. It's the thing I will point out. I think Pickford had a good season whenever I've caught them. I think Mina is possibly going to be the most important Everton player between now and the end of the campaign, and he was a bit wobbly, Matt told me before, against Leicester, but that's his first game back. The point about this is that Everton will put the bodies on the line in a way that frankly Manchester United didn't, and that was what I was expecting frankly from Manchester United, but that's also what I'm expecting from Everton. So for me, listen, any win is a good result in a game like this, and any win at this stage of the season. Are Liverpool capable of playing brilliantly? Absolutely. Might it run for them for a period of time and they manage to rack up a couple of goals quite quick? Yeah, that can happen, and we've seen it happen at Anfield. But the flip side is, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if this is really tight to 45 minutes or even the hour mark, because Everton are going to be determined, firstly, not to be embarrassed, but also secondly, they're not in a position to pass any points up. If there is a point on the table, and when we kick off they are in possession of one, you know, it's worth remembering that they've got something to hang on to from minute one, Everton, and that's the way I expect them to play.
Do you agree?
Yeah, in a way, yeah, that's very idyllic, and you know, I'd love to see everything going like that, but if we're being brutally honest, away from home this season, we've seen this team collapse multiple times, and you know, it doesn't matter that it's a Merseyside derby in this history, in this fixture, in this needle, and all these kinds of things. Everton away from home, if we're looking at the Evertons, have been pretty pitiful. There's been a little bit of improvement, I think, at Burnley and West Ham in the last couple of games, but we're playing a team there in West Ham who had European games on the mind. Obviously Burnley, Everton gifted them that result that night with some really bad individual errors. So if Everton go and play at that level, that's not going to be good enough at Anfield. Everton need to go and produce their best away performance of the season by a country mile to get close to getting anything from this game. So it's going to be really difficult from that point of view.
Sunday aside, how much confidence do you think there is amongst the fan base that you can escape relegation? Of course, that result for Burnley, which Simon was speaking about a moment ago, hasn't helped things, has it?
No, absolutely not. And I think sort of speaking to people this morning and looking on social media, that did hit home with a lot of people. That, you know, there is a chance that going into that game at Anfield, we could be in the bottom three. I think Everton, if they're going to get out of it, it's going to come down to the home games, I think, for me. They've got Chelsea next weekend, which is going to be tough, but then they've got two back-to-back home games towards the end of the season against Crystal Palace and Brentford, which are going to be massive, and I think if they're going to get out of it, it's going to be on the back of them. Listen, Palace and Brentford have both had great seasons in their own right. They're going to be tough games, but like I said, away from home, it's hard to bank any points or look at any game. Even Watford, who have lost 10 in a row at home, you know, to go and look at that, I think Everton can get a point. I'm not ready to do that yet with this team. So I think for me, it's still all about the home games, and hopefully they can just sneak something on the road somewhere.
In a word, score prediction for the weekend.
I'll go.
The laugh said it all.
I'll go. I'll say 1-1.
Okay, Neil.
Liverpool 2, Everton 0.
Okay, there you go. That probably sums up the confidence in the two camps. I asked him before to Matt that whether this is the biggest Merseyside derby ever. When you consider the league position of both teams, certainly in the Premier League era, it's hard to argue any other way, to be honest.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you very much to you guys. Beautiful day in Liverpool on the Albert Dock there. I tell you what, there'll be City fans wearing Everton shirts on Sunday as well, won't they? They're hoping that Frank Lampard can get something, former City player.
I think that's you. You're talking about Man City fans, he's talking about himself there.
You guys will be getting in touch, by the way, with your title winners, your top 4, and not too many of you are going with who's going down. So we need that to be added to your tweets. But Marco says City to stutter, Liverpool to win it on goal difference, and give City a taste of their own medicine.
Marco, you're not going to be friends with Will at this rate. Anyway, Ola Kunle got in touch saying that Man City will be champions, and his top 4 goes as this. So Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea remaining in 3rd, and Arsenal getting 4th.
Tell you what, 12th of May is massive, isn't it? North London derby at Spurs.
It's going to be huge because then they'll be both have played the same number of points. Okay, anyway, Connect also said Man City to win the league and Spurs to get top 4. So it's looking
Who's going down, though? Come on, who's going down? Is it Burnley or Watford or Norwich going to get out of it?
Even if Simon said it could be Aston Villa or even Leeds getting dragged into that.
With Norwich winning against Newcastle, they are not out of it as well. So this weekend is huge, isn't it?
Very
Let us know who's going down as well. Hashtag PL fans.
Exactly, get those in. Anyway, that's it for part 1. After the break, we'll be looking ahead to more weekend action, including Manchester United's trip to the Emirates, coming up a couple of days after they confirmed who'll be in charge next season. Welcome back to Premier League Today. Yes, the major breaking news yesterday was that Manchester United have appointed Erik ten Hag as their new manager from the start of next season. Now, they'll get things kicked off in match week 34 with a trip to the Emirates. And Alex Aljo is actually there for us now to react a bit to that news of the incoming manager.
Yes, Anita, Erik ten Hag, the new Manchester United manager from next season. I think it was football's worst kept secret, really. But his sole focus right now will be winning the Eredivisie. They're 4 points clear at the top of the table. They lost the Dutch Cup final at the weekend as well, losing 2-1 against PSV Eindhoven, who are second in the Dutch league. But Chief Executive and former Manchester United player Edwin van der Sar has spoken out, and he said that he really wishes that Erik could stay at the club for longer, and he's so grateful for everything that he has achieved with him. And his numbers are so impressive, actually. If you look at them, he's won 155 of the 210 games he's managed at Ajax, only losing 29 of them. That's a win percentage of 73.8%. He's won the league twice with them. He's won the Dutch Cup twice, and of course he led them to the semi-finals of the Champions League when they were knocked out by Tottenham in 2019. As a person, he seems ruthless on the outside, but he's really down to earth. The players seem to love him. He sort of inspires them rather than instilling fear in them. He knows Pep Guardiola very well. He'll be his new neighbour in Manchester. They worked together at Bayern Munich when Pep was in charge of the first team and Ten Hag was in charge of the second team. And he says he really admires him and has learnt a lot from Pep Guardiola. We can get some reaction now and hear from Tim Sherwood speaking in the Matchday Live studio yesterday. He said that Ten Hag will need time. They'll need to be patient.
He's not got a magic wand. He's not going to come in there and change anything overnight. They haven't got the personnel to be able to do that on the playing side, so they're going to need to help him, give him the tools to work with, and then slowly he can build a squad there to play the style of player how he wants to play, which suits the Premier League. Not only suits Ten Hag, but suits the Premier League. First and foremost, he wants to start winning football matches. But I think the fans need to give him time, need to give him a break. I think we in the media need to give him a break as well. But like I said, it helps when you come in humble, and I think he will do like Andy's alluded to there. Yeah. I think he come in not doing Man United a favour by being a manager, as we've seen a few managers have come in over the last few seasons, and it's almost like Jose, for instance, like I'm doing Man United a favour, the greatest club in world football, up there with Real Madrid. This is a huge football club. He's never going to manage a bigger club than Manchester United. Hopefully he does well. I really hope he does.
Alex, as Tim says, it's a massive job, but it's probably a bigger job than ever before at Old Trafford, and reports of a huge squad overhaul this summer.
Yeah, it's been reported this morning, Will, that he'll get £120 million plus sales, and up to 12 players could leave Manchester United this summer. He'll be United's 5th permanent manager since Sir Alex Ferguson left in 2013. The club has only won 3 trophies in the following 9 years: the FA Cup, the League Cup and the Europa League, which is no way near good enough for a club as big as Manchester United. And if we take a closer look at the numbers of those 4 permanent managers, he doesn't really have big shoes to fill, really, because it's Jose Mourinho who has the best win percentage, and that's only 58%. A lot of people have been talking about the fact that Erik ten Hag doesn't have experience managing in the Premier League, but it's gone so well so far for the likes of Thomas Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. So yeah, hopefully it will be a great new appointment for Manchester United, and I'm sure he'll have a close eye on the early kickoff here at the Emirates tomorrow. Arsenal take on Manchester United. Ajax play after them, so yeah, I'm sure he'll be watching that game. Here with me to preview that match is broadcaster and Arsenal fan Pippa Monique. Pippa, great to see you. So all doom and gloom at Manchester United at the moment, but Arsenal with a huge boost after that massive win against Chelsea. Did you see that coming at the Bridge?
No, I didn't, but I'm in better spirits now that we had that result, because I was, when you look at the games that were coming up before that, Southampton, Brighton, Crystal Palace, those are the games that I was hoping to take points of those teams. And I was looking at Chelsea, not as a free hit, 'cause I don't like to do that, but I was looking at Chelsea and thinking this is a team where we could possibly drop points or lose at Stamford Bridge. But to win by such a big margin as well, to put 4 past Chelsea at Stamford Bridge is a massive boost. I'm in better spirits, I'm sure the players are, the clubs and the rest of the fans. So coming into this game at home against Manchester United should be an exciting one.
It was just Eddie Nketiah's 2nd Premier League start this season. Do you think Arteta made the right decision playing him? He actually came out afterwards and said that he feels he's been unfair on him, should have been playing him. So he scored 2 goals from open play in 56 minutes. Lacazette has scored 2 from open play in a year. That sort of justifies it, doesn't it?
I know, it's just a crazy comparison, but it's good that he's taken accountability in Mikel Arteta and come out and said that, you know, he's been a bit unfair, but in the same breath he didn't have much options. He didn't have any other choice to play Nketiah. So I'm glad that he did at this moment in time. He's proven himself, and Nketiah hasn't had many starts, as you said, so it's not easy for him to get the stats and have goals and be the striker that he wants to be, because he's not had the opportunity to play a run of games here at Arsenal. So now that he's played 2 games in quick succession, got 2 goals in 1 game, I'm sure his confidence is at an all-time high now and hoping to play again tomorrow against Manchester United and hopefully do the same thing.
His future obviously up in the air at Arsenal, so is Lacazette's. Another player whose future's up in the air is El Neni, who was absolutely brilliant against Chelsea, wasn't he? And we spoke before the game, and you actually said you saw it coming. You knew he was going to have a great game.
I mean, I've been saying it since the Brighton game at home. We played one of our most experienced midfielders in Xhaka at left back and left one of our youngest midfielders, Lokonga, exposed, and he was by himself, and we had an experienced midfielder who's an AFCON finalist in El Neni on the bench that could have played that game. And I've been saying it for a while now that he should be getting minutes now that Thomas Partey's out. We saw how he played with Partey last season against Manchester United, where we had that 1-0 win, and they were so solid in midfield. And then again against Chelsea, I'm glad that he's getting the opportunity, the minutes. Hopefully he does the same thing against Manchester United. And El Neni, I'm glad, because he's the unsung hero. He's a great squad player, and he's someone that you need, especially when injuries happen like this. Someone that can slot right in, has experience, and just controls the midfield.
Arsenal currently below Tottenham just on goal difference. Looks like they're going to be fighting till the end of the season for 4th spot. Looking at their run-ins, we were just looking at the games coming up. Who do you think has the better run-in? Could it all be decided on the 12th of May at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
If I'm honest, and this is not me throwing the flag in, I really think that Tottenham have a slightly better run-in. I mean, they do have a tough fixture against Liverpool. Everyone's expecting Liverpool to win that, but in this Premier League, football is such an interesting game. You never know what can happen. But that's their toughest fixture. The last 2 games, I think they've got Burnley and Norwich, who are fighting for relegation, which could be tough for them in that essence where, well, Norwich is not really fighting, but Burnley are. Burnley are really fighting. We saw yesterday how well they played. So, but with us, it's all about who drops points, and we need to carry on this momentum after the Chelsea win to carry on collecting points. Whether it should be 3, but even if it's 1 point, I guess I'll have to take it, but I need 3 points for the rest of the games now, which is a hard ask.
If Arsenal do finish 4th, will you consider that a successful season? Will you be happy with that?
I honestly do not like this question, because it's not a successful season, but in the grand scheme of things, how we started the season, how badly things have gone, the injuries we've suffered. Champions League, we haven't been there for many years, since 2016. It's a great outcome. It's not a successful season because it's not a trophy, but I'll take it, of course.
You'll be sat in your seasons up there, that corner, up there, score prediction.
Oh, I don't know, but I don't know. I don't care how it goes. I just want to win 3 points, whether it's 2-1, 3-2, whether it's 4-3, whatever it is.
But Cristiano
Just a
Ronaldo is
win.
going to be back.
I know.
Watch out.
Oh, don't do that.
Thank you so much for coming on Premier League today. Mikel Arteta will be speaking to the media here at the Emirates at 1:30 local time. But I'm off to Cobham to hear from Thomas Tuchel. Hopefully he'll be in a better mood than he was at Stamford Bridge, having lost to Arsenal on Wednesday night.
She's a busy bee, that Alex Alger, isn't she? All over the place.
She's going to be one of the lucky ones at the game tomorrow.
Yeah, big game that. Arsenal-Manchester
Yes.
United. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Pippa.
Right, well, speaking of busy people, our man on the mic for tomorrow's clash at the Emirates is Mr. Peter Drury, and I'm delighted to say that he joins us now.
Come on, Drury.
Hey, Drury,
Hey,
love to
team.
see you.
Oh, look, I need to do a button up, don't I? Look terrible.
Oh, take them down. Undo them.
There we are.
It's not that kind
Sorry,
of show.
slovenly.
It's not that kind of show. Don't drag our show into the gutter.
Peter, let's
Apologies.
talk about the game. I mean, this appointment of Erik ten Hag, does it change much for Manchester going into this huge game in hopes to try and secure European football for the next season?
From their perspective, you'd like to hope so. I must admit that the sense for me, certainly at Anfield the other night, was that Manchester United can't wait for this season to end so they can sort of start all over again with Ten Hag. It's a funny coincidence, actually, because you might recall when Manchester United played Arsenal at Old Trafford in December, that was in the immediate aftermath of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer leaving. Michael Carrick was in charge of United that night, and Ralf Rangnick was watching from the stand. And so that fixture, which was a belter, by the way, was at a kind of a punctuation point of Manchester United's turbulent life. And now, coincidentally, here we are with their first game since the formal appointment of Ten Hag, and Rangnick on his way out, at least of this role, with United playing Arsenal again.
Peter, Rangnick's comments I found really interesting after that Liverpool defeat, saying that they're 6 years behind Liverpool, and bearing in mind that's the time that Jurgen Klopp has been at Anfield. They'll need a much quicker fix, surely. Everyone at Old Trafford will be hoping for a quicker fix than that.
Well, yeah, they might be hoping, Will, but honestly, these big clubs, and Liverpool are a case in point, nobody's exempt. These big clubs have huge turning circles. It took 30 years for Manchester United from Busby to Ferguson. 30 years of winning relatively little, and certainly not league titles. It took Liverpool 30 years to go from one great era to the next. Now, I'm not saying it'll take 30 years for Manchester United to do it all again. Perhaps it won't. Who knows how the narrative plays out. But there's no guarantee it's going to happen in 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, And I thought the way they looked at Anfield the other night, honestly, I mean, by comparison with much, much humbler clubs going to Liverpool and inevitably losing, they simply weren't as good. The previous Premier League visitors to Anfield were Watford, who are almost certainly going down this season, and they put up a much, much better show at Liverpool than Manchester United did. United have a long, long journey back.
Peter, I'm glad you mentioned Liverpool there, because you've got an incredibly busy weekend. You're doing Arsenal, Manchester United on Saturday, and then you're going to be front row at the Merseyside derby.
He puts his feet
Sunday.
up for the rest of the week.
Oh,
He'll do it
okay.
the rest of it.
Nice life.
If only.
Watches cricket. That's all he does.
Yeah, that's why it wasn't quite ready for us today. But anyway, talking about the game on Sunday, what is that? How big is it for the title race? I mean, we heard from a Liverpool supporter before. He's very confident. He said 2-1, quite a conservative result that he was predicting there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing which sort of logically makes this anything other than what feels like a Liverpool win is that it is a derby game, and strange things happen in derby games. In terms of how big it is in the title race, well, listen, there's 6 games each left, and every one of them is as big as the last and as big as the next. They just have to keep on winning. This is a really spicy one, because Liverpool-Everton always is, and also because, of course, there's a massive Everton factor here. They'll have got the wind up them with Burnley winning last night, and despite the sacking of Sean Dyche, apparently Burnley ready for the fight. So Everton need the points desperately, or will be scrapping. Everton did win at Anfield last season, freakish though that seems now, and Everton, have to believe. But Liverpool were majestic the other night. I mean, they are so good. And so are Manchester City, and that is why it's a treat to be watching this run-in, because you have at the back of your mind the suspicion that one of them somewhere is bound to slip up somehow. But then you look at the list of fixtures and you think they're winning all of those. And you're already starting to rub your hands at the prospect of a thrilling last day.
Yeah, and you know, you've seen the run-ins there, Peter. I don't think you're going to suggest that Watford maybe could be the ones that cause Manchester City problems, but where is their slippiest test then in the run-in for the champions?
Honestly, Will, I haven't. I mean, you need to put them up again. I haven't got the City fixtures committed to mind. There they are. Well, there they are. Listen, away games are going to be tough. Leeds, you never know. Wolves, which is of course the rogue fixture, you know, in terms of its scheduling, is a you never know one. And the fact that Wolves play them both, I think, is fascinating. Possibly both within the last week of the season, we'll see. And I suppose West Ham away is obviously a tough one, though West Ham may have their eggs in the European basket still at that stage.
Yeah.
From Liverpool's point of view, I think home to Tottenham is their hardest game. Because Tottenham are hitting their straps now and like Arsenal and Man United, you know, really competing to get into the top four. But logically, sort of coolly, if you look at it with ice in your veins, you know, you can find reason to believe that they'll both win all of those games. But I just don't think they will.
Steven Gerrard having a say, final day against Manchester City, Coutinho hat-trick.
Absolutely. I mean, that is so possible. You know, it's so possible that Steven Gerrard has his say, and that will be a delicious piece of narrative. You know, they both have to play Villa, they both have to play Wolves, and apart from the Gerrard factor, you know, those are both clubs, Villa and Wolves, which have a puncher's chance in any game. We know they're both good football teams and just might. And as I say, none of us know where this Wolves game against City is going to be scheduled. I have a feeling it might be in the very last week of the season. I don't know. I'm not speaking for the Premier League. But if that's the case, then Wolves have them both to play over those last 3 or 4 days. And that's a fantastic thing, because Wolves just might and Villa just might. And the Stevie G thing is delicious.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is all to play out. But you know what, Will? We could just have one of those weekends, whether it's this weekend or next, where one of them wins and one of them loses, and suddenly it all feels as though it's done.
Yeah.
You know, it could suddenly happen in a flash, and you know, where we least expect it. I don't think it will happen this weekend. I think City will win comfortably. I think Liverpool will probably win as well, fairly comfortably. But you know, there's Leeds in there and Newcastle, and you know, there are plenty of traps to be had.
Definitely. Well, it's that unpredictability of the Premier League that we love so much.
Delicious.
Have fun tomorrow at the Emirates. I'm not going to lie, I'm very jealous of you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. Have a great weekend.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Right, changing gears slightly. Today, by the way, is World Earth Day. Happy World Earth Day, everybody. An event that takes place every year on the 22nd of April, Anita.
Yeah, so happy birthday to the Earth. It's marked by millions around the world. And Earth Day is designed to shine a light on the serious environmental problems that we're currently facing. So from climate crisis to air pollution and deforestation.
Yeah, serious stuff. And the theme for Earth Day 2022 is Invest in Our Planet, a call for governments, businesses and individuals to invest in a better future for our planet. And as our reporter Rob Scanlon has found out, ex-Premier League footballer Richard Eckersley is doing just that.
World Earth Day may only come once a year, but for one former Premier League player, working towards a sustainable future is a full-time occupation.
And there's no doubt Richard Eckersley has become something of a trailblazer in his second career after moving to South Devon with his wife Nicola.
We came down to Totnes in a camper van, and we was just exploring. He was like, okay, this is the place we want to live. And then we went back to Manchester, and we was like, okay, you know, what can we do down there? We need something to do. We need a purpose. We can't just live on the land and grow food. We need to kind of do something. So we had this idea of opening a shop, and that was the UK's first zero waste shop. So we ran that for a few years. And then the idea of plant milk in glass bottles in a circular loop, and now it's become its whole new business, and it's sold nationwide. And I'm hoping that people will remember it for being the springboard for other shops to start up, to give them the confidence too, because when we first opened, we didn't know what we were doing. You know, we kind of just threw caution to the wind and was hoping for the best, and you know, fortunately it's worked out.
Although the Manchester accent remains, Eckersley now lives in a very different place and with different goals. Growing up, it was all about trying to represent his boyhood club that he joined aged 7.
Obviously it was a really young age at the time, you just wanted to play football, and even at that age the facilities at the clubs is incredible, and for me to go and play from like a cow field to then playing on these incredible pitches at Manchester United was a dream come true already, even at that age. And obviously I was really well supported by my family and my brothers, and then it went on from there really. I just went on through the age groups, and luckily I made it into the first team, and then the rest is history.
Manchester United still hold the record for consecutive Premier League clean sheets, and it was during that run that Eckersley made his top-flight debut as a substitute for Gary Neville. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2 in an emphatic win at West Brom.
Yeah, no, I broke into the team. I remember Alex Ferguson actually saying this is the best team he's ever had. It was a real privilege to play with these incredible players, and they encouraged us to watch players in our position, and who better to look than Gary Neville, because he'd been plying his trade in the Premier League for 10-15 years at the time. So yeah, no, it was a great person to look up to at that point in my life.
After winning a League Cup medal, the right-back turned down a new contract at Old Trafford, but stayed in the Northwest with a move to Burnley.
I was super eager to play in the Premier League on a regular basis, and I thought the opportunity would happen at Burnley, and it just unfortunately never did. United at the time was saying, we can take you on loan. There's other Championship clubs coming in for you, but I was just adamant that I wanted to play in the Premier League, almost like stubborn-like. But looking back, I was 21, 22. I was actually 20. I should have probably bided my time and just took it nice and easy. But you know, I always think about that, but I wouldn't be here now speaking to you in front of a unit if maybe I did hold out at United and stay there.
A transfer across the Atlantic resulted in playing with and against the likes of Jermaine Defoe and Thierry Henry during spells with Toronto and New York Red Bulls. And it was during his time in North America that Eckersley changed his lifestyle.
You know, it just kind of shifted my views on things. I think having time away from my family, having time away from my friends, having to meet new people with new ideas and new thoughts on how they live their life, it just changed my perspective on things. And it just started to move quickly away from football. And I started generating interest into the environment, organic food, and living lightly on the planet where possible. And football for me wasn't at the time doing anything like that. It was kind of the opposite. You know, we'd go to training, there'd be plastic bottles everywhere, and I just, you know, for me, I wanted to make an impact. And yeah, slowly but surely, I kind of worked out that maybe football at the time isn't right for me now.
So is that when you switched to a vegan diet?
Yeah, I switched to vegan in 2014. I remember having my last bit of cow cheese pizza, and you know, we made a bit of a celebration of it. Went to this pizzeria in New York, and you know, we enjoyed it, and then that was that for me, and I've not eaten it since.
Since retiring from football, aged just 28 after a short spell at Oldham, Eckersley and his young family have settled in well here, but it's not been easy.
I am really proud of what it is, but it goes back to my footballing days where the hard work and dedication, you have to start by, you know, with the hours that we would be putting in there, developing the process, developing the milk, developing the business. You know, that took months and months of graft, long hours, barely any sleep, not seeing too much of the family or seeing them at the after clock. And it starts with the work ethic, and I think that stemmed from my time in football. You know, people are buying electric cars, people are shopping in zero waste shops, you know, and generally they're just being more conscious about what they consume. You know, every time you make a purchase, you are casting a vote to the world that you want to live in, and every day, if you just make little small changes, you're making a better world for the future and future generations.
So that was Richard Eckersley there doing his bit to help the environment, and it's something that Premier League clubs are focusing on more and more.
Yeah, good on Richard. The organisation Sport Positive has collated key environmental information for each of our clubs. The information gathered takes into account impacts of putting on a football match and initiatives that are underway at clubs such as education and environmental efficiency. And as of February 2022, you can see Liverpool and Spurs lead the sustainability rankings.
Well, very interesting there, trying to be all a bit more
Good
green.
to see him doing his bit, exactly,
Yeah.
encouraging everyone to follow, yeah.
Okay, well, that's it for part 2. After the break, we'll be checking in with our guy, Jonathan Joseph, who was one of the lucky few to be at the London Shard last night, where there were 6 new stars inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame.
Hello and welcome back to Premier League Today. Now, as we mentioned on yesterday's show, there have been 6 new inductees into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Those names: Ian Wright, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, Didier Drogba, Vincent Kompany and Mr. Sergio Aguero. Our very own Jonathan Joseph was at the event in London yesterday. I think you were there as well. Becky Ives was there. Alex Aljo was there. Everyone. I wasn't there.
Sorry, what was that?
I wasn't there. Whose voice was that? Let's spin the camera around here. Was this man here? You weren't there. We're going to speak to you in a second.
So did you get an invite?
I didn't get an invite.
I didn't get an invite.
Okay, Anita was there. Okay. Everyone was there. Anyway, do you know who else was there? Jonathan Joseph was there, and he caught up with the stars in attendance.
Hi, it's JJ. I'm here at the Shard in London for the inaugural Premier League Hall of Fame inductee ceremony. 8 players have been recognised for their fantastic contribution to the greatest competition in the world, and it all happens here.
You know, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's only now, like I say, 22 years later, you're retired and you get this kind of accolade, this kind of recognition, and kind of makes you think. It's very difficult for me to still take it in right as we speak.
They're all exceptional athletes, they're all exceptional footballers, and they are, to a man, exceptional people.
In 2008, when I joined the Premier League, I never thought it was possible. But it goes to show it's just been a lot of hard work and a long journey and a lot of consistency, and I'm glad to be here.
I've been inspired by people to work hard and to be who I am today, and hopefully I can inspire other players to be who they want to be.
To grow up as a young boy, watching Premier League, and to have dreams, ambitions of one day playing in the Premier League. So to get inducted into the Hall of Fame is something I'm proud of.
When you think back to where I came from to actually try to be a professional, sit here, I can't believe it.
I'm very happy and proud to be part of the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
You know, Patrick was already a Hall of Famer when I came to the Premier League. He could have stopped his career then. Probably should have. Sorry.
I'd say that any save that I've made against Ian Wright was a good save.
It's a special feeling to be inducted into the Hall of Fame along with so many fantastic players.
You have to fight for the right to play, and you have to finish above United if you wanted to win the league. So we managed to do it a couple of times, so that was good.
At 16, I remember thinking I'm the best player. I'm better than the rest of the team. And that's not being big-headed, that's just being confident.
Thank you to the Premier League, the most competitive and the best league in the world.
The Hall of Fame inductees, the class of 2022.
Right, so here's a reminder of the 6 new inductees into the Premier League's Hall of Fame. So you've got 3 forwards in there: Ian Wright, Didier Drogba, Sergio Aguero. Then 1 midfielder in Paul Scholes, a defender, Vincent Kompany, and then Peter Schmeichel, the only goalkeeper.
Absolute ballers, to be fair. Was it good? Good night?
Yeah, it was. In fact, you saw Ian Wright getting really emotional there. I think his story is probably going to be less common.
He's your hero, isn't he, Ian Wright?
Yeah, that's one person I'm glad. To be fair, you would have probably thought, would Wrighty make it? Outstanding. What a guy.
Yeah.
What a career. What a person. What a human being. Got so much respect for him. It's helped me so much in my football and in my media career. So I'm so happy. And you know, when he cries like that, that's genuine. That's not fake tears. That is, he's from the heart.
Yeah.
From where he's come from to where he is now. Thoroughly deserves it. And what a striker, by the way.
Look, forget those 6. A very special moment on live TV now on Premier League Today. We've got the inductee team coming down. Clinton, we'd like to officially induct you into the Premier League Hall of Fame, everybody.
Hey, bro, I was good. Listen, I was good, but I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to make that list. Them players were exceptional. Sometimes you got to hold your hand out and say, had a fantastic career.
What year is Morrison going to be in there? It's 2022, we've got 16.
No, I'll never be in there. But the younger Morrisons will definitely be in there. They'll be Ballon d'Or winners, though. So they're going to go one step further.
This is what I like. I do love this about the Premier League, though. When you get them all together, it makes such a special night. It's not often you see that many ballers, stars, legends.
This is what I'm trying to say. If I was invited, I would have liked it because there were so many legends. I would have just had loads of pictures with all them legends in there. But I wasn't invited, but it looked like it was a great night.
Join the club, mate.
I'm sorry you weren't invited, but who do you think potentially was missed off that list?
Ashley Cole should definitely be on that list. Ashley Cole, for me, is the best left-back at one stage in world football. He's the best fullback England will ever produce. And I'll put it out there. There'll be no fullback like Ashley Cole. And that's at right-back or left-back. He was the best. So he'll be in the next one.
He's got to be in the next one,
Someone like maybe Rio Ferdinand. Because Rio was outstanding. Vincent Kompany deserves that. Legend at City. Aguero, Drogba as well.
Any midfielders missing, do you think?
Nah, all the midfielders are kind of taken care of, innit? You've got Gerrard, Vieira, Keane, Scholes, Lampard. Yeah, if you look at the list, I think all the midfielders, I think more defenders now, but Ashley Cole will be in there.
But how exciting even going forward when you think of like Kevin De Bruyne when he retired?
Oh, he'll get there. De Bruyne, Salah, those kinds of players, they'll definitely be in there. It's just, this is the best league in the world. And we get the best players to play in this league, and that list of players is... It's unbelievable. There's even good players that are not going to make that list.
So good to just recognise them in that way, isn't it? Look, we haven't got long left. We've got to talk about, I guess, the title race this weekend. Is there any change? Is it straightforward for City against Watford? They go 4 points clear. Liverpool win the Merseyside derby with a battling Frank Lampard Everton?
No battling Frank Lampard Everton. Liverpool win that comfortably. I was at the game the other day against Leicester. They played well second half Everton, but if they play like they did first half, they'll lose. Man City, I was a bit nervous when it was 0-0 at half time, and then they go on and win. I think it's going to be Man City are still favourites. I think Man City are good enough to win every game. Liverpool will win every game. So I think Man City win it by a point.
Interestingly, Vincent Kompany yesterday did say that he thought that there was 1 point too many. And if they didn't win it this season, that they do it next season with Erling Haaland.
Well, yeah.
What Man City? Yeah, that's what I mean. If Man City get Erling Haaland, it's not fair. Like, we're going to be working with
Game over.
Will all the time, and he's just going to be talking about Man City.
I've seen some Borussia Dortmund fans on social media saying good luck with Mr. Injury and so on, because he has had his injuries this season. But I mean, at his peak, I mean, there's no one quite like him.
No, there's no one like him. At 21 years of age, and the money that Man City be paying for him, that's a bargain in this day and age in football.
And they've already scored 50+ goals without an out-and-out striker. So.
Oh, Man City, if they get them, it's not fair. It will be Man City and Liverpool for many years now. From now, for the next 3 or 4 years until Man United can sort it out. And Chelsea won't be far behind them, but them two are outstanding teams.
Yeah. Okay. Induction team are here, so we'll get that sorted after this for Hall of Fame.
I will. Come on, you're better than that. But yeah, if you are here and
you're going to get there before me anyway.
Well, I'll tell you one thing they could put me in for being the main man and good on TV, no?
Goodbye. Have a good weekend.